Morning Warriors, welcome to Why Shy Why. Thanks for joining me today. As you know, Why Shy Why is all about questions I get asked from our clients, our client communities, all the people that we're coaching and mentoring. And we bring it back to you guys because we know that you'll be struggling with the same sort of things. Speaking of struggling, a couple of years ago, something quite detrimental happened and most of us started working virtually, especially in the technology sector. Motivating virtual staff, though, is a skill set that people don't just pick up overnight. So here we are 2 years later and we're starting to see the changes that are happening to the world because of that. Great example of that being a lot of people leaving their jobs because they just don't feel motivated enough in a virtual setting. So here's 3 things that I thought we'd talk about today. Help you start the process of motivating your virtual team members. One of them, and probably the biggest, is to start to build something called psychological safety for your team members. This is kind of what it sounds like. You feel safe enough to be yourself. And that's kind of hard. I mean, we had this problem in our face-to-face world as well, when we were all co-located in the same office. Now it's even harder, especially when we're starting to talk to people that don't put their cameras on, that might be a little bit embarrassed about their background, or that there's kids screaming, or there's cats all over the place. Whatever the case might be, we need to be accommodating enough to build the safety in that team member so that they feel like they can open up over a virtual world. That's not easy, okay? And I promise you there's lots of nuance here and lots of things that you could deep dive into, and it could take you years to actually get good at this. But start at one simple idea of equal voice. Jump online, do a quick Google, figure out what's the best way to do equal voice for your team and start down that process, okay? Number 1, psychological safety. The second thing that you need to start thinking about is your communication style as a leader, and not only your style, but your timing. This, again, we borrow this from years and years, decades of leadership training. The idea of communicating to your people, nothing new. The idea of timing your communication, also nothing new. The only difference now is that we need to be context specific. So what I mean by that is this. You might think that you're a brilliant leader because you're communicating with your team because you all jump into a very efficient 30-minute call. What you're not recognizing is that 30-minute call may have some people that are a little bit more open, they feel a bit more psychological safety, and you'll have others that are not so open, they have less psychological safety. And you haven't gone through that process of creating equal voice in that call. What you're going to find is some people walk away from that call or switch off from that call less motivated than others. We all have a different working style. So for you as leaders, your job now is to communicate directly in a timely manner, one-on-one with your people. One-on-one being the key here and timely being the key here. If you are going to speak specifically about performance, time is of the essence. You don't go and reprimand someone 3 weeks or 3 hours after something bad happened. Think about your context and start talking to that person almost instantly. I know that's really hard when I don't have my schedule up, when you have a schedule looking like anyone like ours, but really at the end of the day, what you're looking for is to motivate your people because that's how you best scale yourself. Last thing, guys, to think about is what is the cultural and contextual nuances of the person that you're speaking to, of the team member that you're with, that you need to be super sensitive to. I use the word super sensitive because I really want you guys to be super sensitive, okay? What I mean by that is this. When a worker is working from their home environment, they don't work in a business culture anymore. They don't work in your organizational culture anymore. They're actually working in their home culture, but you're expecting a organizational culture element to that. Don't expect that. Instead, ask. It's very easy to ask. Hey, look, I'd love to be able to do this, but I'm a little bit worried about, you're in your kitchen and I don't want to interrupt anything else that might be happening there. Or if I drag you out to a in-person meeting, I don't know what your drive time looks like. Or you might have cultural nuances now. People have moved around, but they're still in your team. They move from East Coast to West Coast, and from one continent to another. They have a different culture in which they live, right? So it's not just context, it's also culture. Start thinking about what is the context and what is the culture for that specific person. Layer in your communication in a timely manner and start building out that psychological safety And now you're at a place where you can start to build motivation in that person. Remember, motivation is all about effectiveness. You can't be efficient with this stuff. Okay, you can't motivate a bunch of people at once. If you could, you'd be not doing what you're doing. Instead, try to do it one by one with one person at a time, and what you'll end up with is a really high performing team. All right, guys, so that's it for us for today. If you found this sort of stuff valuable, please feel free to like and share. If you have any questions for Why Shy Why, shoot me a message on any of our channels and I'll get back to you, and we may even do a video on it. Thanks.